This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Operation Sindoor, India's strategic outreach in the fight against terrorism. The participants are Shashank, former Foreign Secretary, and Neelabh Srivastava, journalist.
We're speaking about the India's initiative by sending 7 all-party delegations to reach out to the international community on the Pakistan's designs and sponsoring of terrorism, and also about India's response to the April 22nd dastardly Pahalgam attack in which 26 people, mostly tourists, were killed. We have with us Ambassador Shashank. First, to understand, Ambassador, what kind of initiative is this where your all-party delegations, leaders from different political parties are brought together and then sent to different countries to speak about what India has been taking a stand on vis-a-vis terrorism in this case? So what kind of an initiative is this?
Well, you're quite right. It's not a very normal kind of a measure because we have not done that very often. But I think this time, firstly, ordinary tourists were picked up for assassination. Their families were left behind, even though they also said, look, if you are such terrorists, then kill us also. They left them alive and then they said, okay, go back and tell your government what we are doing to you based on their religion and all that. So I think that's a direct challenge to India's state, India's unity and India's people. Therefore, there's a great amount of frustration and anger among the people of India. And that is reflected through the voices of the representatives of the various political parties in India, because India would be sending out these delegations to show its democracy, to show the anger of the common masses, which is reflected through all the people representing various parties. So we have, I think, more than 30 political parties representatives going out to these various countries. And I think to say that, yes, India is now going to take action firmly against terrorism in all measures, not just military, not just removing all the terrorist base camps, but also to go through the other diplomatic measures, economic measures, and international level also, whatever else they can do to make sure that these kind of things are not repeated in future by Pakistan.
Talking about Operation Sindoor, every one of us knows what happened when India hit 9 terror bases in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and even after the offensive was further refined and specified to other, not only terror bases but also military bases of Pakistan when Pakistan started unsuccessfully targeting Indian military and civilian installations. First, we'll go ahead and listen to what Prime Minister today said. He was in Sikkim today and he spoke about Operation Sindoor.
आतंकियों ने जो कुछ पहलगाम में किया वो सिर्फ भारतीयों पर हमला नहीं था, वो मानवता की आत्मा पर हमला था, भाईचारे की भावना पर हमला था। आतंकियों ने हमारे अनेक परिवारों की खुशियों को छीन लिया। उन्होंने हम भारतीयों को बांटने की भी साजिश रची। लेकिन आज पूरी दुनिया देख रही है कि भारत पहले से कहीं ज्यादा एकजुट है। हमने एकजुट होकर आतंकियों और उनके सरपरस्तों को साफ संदेश दिया। उन्होंने हमारे बेटियों के माथे से सिंदूर पोंछकर उनका जीना हराम कर दिया। हमने आतंकियों को ऑपरेशन सिंदूर से करारा जवाब दिया है। साथियों, आतंकी अड्डे तबाह होने से बौखलाकर पाकिस्तान ने हमारे नागरिकों और सैनिकों पर हमले की कोशिश की, लेकिन उसमें भी पाकिस्तान की पोल ही खुल गई और हमने उनके कई एयरबेस को तबाह करके दिखा दिया कि भारत कब क्या कर सकता है, कितना तेजी से कर सकता है, कितना सटीक कर सकता है।
Ambassador, India's position for long has been that terror and talks will not go together. They cannot. And now, after the Pahalgam attack and Operation Sindoor, India has made it clear that if talks ever happen with Pakistan, this will only be on terrorism. There has been a distinctive shift of what probably the diplomacy or the Indian diplomatic stand has been. How do you see this entire thing panning out, and also this message being carried by our all-party delegations to different countries, and not only to bring their opinion, not only to engage them in our favor, but also against the fountainheads of terrorism like Pakistan?
This time we found that Pakistan army and Pakistan government structures, they were all represented when the attack was done on the terrorist training camps, their bases. And more than 160 of them were killed. We found that their caskets were wrapped in the national colors of Pakistan, and military officers, they were carrying those caskets on their shoulders, which means that there's a direct link between the Pakistani state and these terrorists. Whatever else they had been saying in the past, that these are all Indians who are doing it, or these are all all non-state actors. We do not know who they are. And in fact, very often, whenever India gave the address and all the details of the people present in Pakistan, Pakistanis sent them away from Pakistan and then said internationally that, well, they are not there. Come and check. Nobody is there. In fact, what has happened is that they were put in the grey list of FATF on financing arrangements for Pakistan. They were blocked or they were delayed or they were scrutinized. But then Pakistan got out of it by saying that, no, they have taken action against them. And still, these terrorists are still going and attacking the civilians in India. They're trying to divide India totally. I think this is why this become very important that this time Prime Minister has taken a decision. Not only the terrorism and talks will not go, but terrorism and discussions will not, in any minute, trade will not go, water will not flow. And therefore, this time a decisive measure has been taken, and India has also shown that how actively, swiftly and accurately it can take care of what Pakistan was trying to do. So I think this is a clear-cut message to Pakistan, and that needs to be shared with all of our friends all over the world, so that whether it is bilaterally or whether it is in various international forums of the United Nations, World Bank, IMF, FATF, etc., they all know that yes, this is what has happened. Pakistan has been getting away with it, but this time they cannot do that, and they cannot just say that, well, they are also against terrorism or they are suffering from terrorism, because here we have seen a very clear-cut proof, and our party representatives from different political parties will be able to express that, put it across to all the important political leaders and the government leaders in different countries.
Before I ask you the next question, as we all know, the delegations are in different parts of the world. They are in Indonesia, they are in Panama, some others are moving in. They're traveling to different destinations. From Jakarta, we have the BJP MP, Mrs. Aparajita Sarangi. Let us first listen to her comments and then go back.
हम जापान से अपनी यात्रा की हमने शुरुआत की और वहां से हम रिपब्लिक ऑफ कोरिया गए, फिर वहां से हम सिंगापुर गए और उसके बाद 7वें दिन हम जकार्ता इंडोनेशिया आए। और सब जगह यह बात मैं बहुत ही स्पष्टता के साथ और जोर देकर कहना चाहूंगी कि भारत को बहुत सम्मान दिया जाता है, भारत की बातें सुनी जाती हैं और भारत में अप्रैल 22 को जो घटना हुई उसकी सबने मिलकर कठोर निंदा की और आतंकवाद का उन्मूलन सबका लक्ष्य है। सबने पाकिस्तान के रवैये की आलोचना की निंदा की और पाकिस्तान की सबने मिलकर खूब भर्त्सना की।
So, Ambassador, we just listened to what the BJP MP had to say.
Yes.
When it comes to these all-party delegations, now for the benefit of our listeners also, India is a thriving democracy. Everyone knows this, and this is a picture in action now. You have the opposition on a regular day, maybe badgering the government in the power on different many issues. But where it comes to take a stand vis-a-vis the Indian position, and especially against terrorism, these parties, all the delegations have come together. They are approaching different, as you just said, that different leaders, global leaders, people who matter in the domains of different other countries. So how does this engagement also take forward towards building a further stronger consensus against terrorism in different global platforms? For instance, it is a G20 or a UN based platform, or maybe an FATF, the Foreign Financial Action Task Force. So what is the scheme of things when it comes to these delegations engaging with the communities abroad and bringing them in favor of what India is saying?
Both these aspects need to be stressed this time. One is that whether at the central level or the state level, different political parties have had a run in the government management. Therefore, they are quite aware of the adverse impact of terrorism among the people of India and of their states. Therefore, while they may have other social, political issues, many other issues of development and other matters where they want to express their views contrary to what the government might be doing. But here, this is a question which is very common among all the people of India, and therefore all the political parties are affected by it. They are required to represent the frustration and anger of the Indian people and Indian masses, and how to get away from this, that in a democracy framework, this is the one way that our people's representatives can go to different countries all over the world, where many of these countries are represented in different international forums. In the past, what had happened is that Pakistan, because of the government to government, maybe at the delegation to delegation level, or by using their friendship with China or maybe some other important members like Turkey, etc., they have been able to impress the people and get out of the grey list of the FATF, or maybe get money from the IMF and World Bank in order to later on once again encourage terrorism and spend all that money on financing terrorism. Therefore, now it has become very important that once India has taken a final decision that, all right, militarily we will take action against the terrorist bases and against people who are directly involved in supporting and sponsoring these terrorists. But it should also be made very clear that, firstly, to the world's people, by sending these delegations all over the world, and then by telling the people of Pakistan, by saying that this Indus Water Treaty, which has been there in existence for the last 65 years and has existed even through wars and through terrorism, India has lost thousands and thousands of people. Now time has come that it should be stopped, and the Pakistani people should directly take life into their own and their own decision making in their hands, and tell their leaders and their military people that they should be more responsible and abide by the interests of that. Otherwise, India will have to continue, because Operation Sindoor has not been stopped. This is only a pause, and that is very clearly said, and I'm quite sure that our delegations would also be conveying it all over the world, and that would hearten all the governments which are against terrorism and want to help India in meeting these adversaries.
Ambassador, I also wanted to understand that before these delegations begin their itinerary, they are briefed here. We have all seen that they were briefed by the Foreign Secretary, the External Affairs Ministry, military commanders also. So what kind of a thing that is shared with them, and what is explained to them as to why we did what we did?
There's a immediate context which, of course, everybody in India knows, and I'm quite sure that the people's representatives, being very sensitive to all the aspirations and what all is going on within the country, they would know. But what happens at the military side and the diplomatic side, we can put across what all has been done in the past and how things have changed. Whereas, for example, in the past, whenever these terrorist activities took place and Pakistan promised that they will take action against the terrorists, they never took any action. And they only tried to delay and further make sophisticated progress in making these targets, or maybe even attacking a large number of people. So much so that we have seen huge numbers of people being attacked either in railway trains or in the hotels in Bombay, or now we are seeing that, ordinary tourists coming there to Pahalgam, they were hit like this. So I think, therefore, what we find now that the government at different levels have to explain to these people so that they can put it across to the interlocutors in other countries. And I'm quite sure this is the way so that it can be done in a focused manner and whatever is going on, because the parliamentarians have so many other responsibilities. So they should be now willing to take care only of the military and the diplomatic aspects which we are dealing with, and the other countries, that what India is trying to do is on the basis of the aspirations of people in the world and all the other countries also.
Before we go ahead and maybe I put you the last question, we have the External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Mr. Randir Jaiswal. He spoke in Delhi today. We'll listen to him first and then go to the last question.
आतंकवाद और बातचीत दोनों साथ में नहीं चल सकता है, और जहां तक आतंकवाद का सवाल है उस पे बात इस मुद्दे पे होगी पाकिस्तान से कि जो हम लोगों ने उन आतंकियों का सूची जो दिया था उनको कुछ साल पहले, उनको हमारे हवाले करें.
Ambassador, talking about the Global Committee of Nations to which these delegations are traveling, I'm sure this is another, as you said, this is not very common. This is an extraordinary step that India has taken. The global scenario we have seen post-COVID, that the kind of challenges that the world is facing are at sometimes there is a confluence, there is a convergence. When it comes to terrorism, how do you overall analyze, has there been an example where such delegations travel and speak to different countries, and what is the kind of an reaction or a response that we have received till now?
Initially there was some feeling that maybe this delegation may not be able to achieve very much, because the United States under the present President Trump has taken the lead in going for trade and tariff measures. And therefore, the attention of the whole world is now directed in that direction. Earlier, when 9/11 had taken place in America, or the various terrorist incidents that occurred in different countries of the world, then terrorism was the most important issue to be tackled. Now, for India, this is a very important subject right now, and India has taken the lead. Initially, in the past, India always said that, okay, we can go by Pakistan's promises and try to promote bilateral relations and regional level relations with Pakistan on the basis that Pakistan will abide by its commitments, which they have not done so far. So therefore, these delegations have been explaining the whole scenario and the sequence of events to other countries. And as we discussed a little while ago, that many times at the international level, pressure from the major powers like China and others sometimes make the various countries take a position which sometimes is favorable to terrorism promoting country like Pakistan. But I think now this is a time we have taken a decision that there should be a public support for what we are doing in various other countries, so that they also convince their own leaders and their own delegations in different international bodies to support India's position.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Operation Sindoor, India's strategic outreach in the fight against terrorism. The participants were Shashank, former Foreign Secretary, and Neelabh Srivastava, journalist.